right, let's get down to business.
You? Business? I don't know that you're savvy enough for that, Barack.
Fuck you, Donald. Let's focus on the matter at hand.
Classic Donald, 10 seconds in and already derailing us.
Oh, that's rich coming from the guy that derailed every legitimate point I made at the debates.
That's a steaming pile of bullshit and you...
Guys, focus. We're here to talk Harry Potter, not politics.
Fine, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Let's just go ahead.
So first things first, this is an ordered tier list. Leftmost items are higher than rightmost items.
Tier lists are the only place where that's the case, just FYI.
Oh, here we go again.
Come on, are we doing this or not? Stop being so combative, Donald. Anyway, moving on, we'll be jumping around the different books. It's more fun that way instead of going in chronological order. To start us off, a classic. This is an easy S-tier ranking. There shouldn't be any debate over this one.
Agreed. Solid S-rank material, no question.
That seems a bit premature to me, Barack.
What do you mean, Joe? This is the introduction to the wizarding world. It brought the world of Harry Potter to life for so many fans, me included. Going through the leaky cauldron to Diagon Alley for the first time was an unforgettable experience.
Hey, it's obviously pretty good, but we can't pretend that it isn't overhyped to hell. Especially after the first movie came out. People went nuts. They hold this book up like it can do no wrong.
That's because it can't. It's godlike.
I'm going to have to agree. There is just no world where this isn't an S-tier book, Joe.
It has more plot holes than Swiss cheese. How the hell does it make any sense for you to put the key to the locked door in the same room as the door itself? The entire book's conflict would have been resolved if Dumbledore had added one more ring to his keychain.
I won't pretend there aren't a few logical leaps, but logic be damned. The world building is marvelous. You can practically feel the stone of Hogwarts Castle beneath your feet as you read. And the food, my God, who hasn't wanted an every flavor bean or a chocolate frog? And don't get me started on Quidditch.
You Quidditch fans are in such denial, it's literally just soccer with extra steps and built-in plot armor.
That's one step too fucking far. Sorcerer's Stone is an S-tier book. We're going ahead. What are our thoughts on The Cursed Child?
Absolute garbage.
Utter trash, even worse than Quidditch.
I agree, it's obvious. Convoluted and nonsensical, even in context of time travel. Unnecessary plot directions, flavorless characters, just an all-around train wreck. Definitely C-tier.
Actually, why don't we just make our job a bit easier and just agree that all of the side books should get their own tier at the bottom? Are we going to pretend like anyone actually gives a fuck about any of those books?
They aren't all bad. Quidditch Through the Ages is actually
Enough of the Quidditch bullshit. I refuse to validate you and the rest of the soccer simps out there. Donald is right. All of the side books are basically worthless. If we can't agree on that, then what the fuck are we even doing here?
Fine, we'll bin all the side books in their own tier. I can't pretend they're worth much of anything. Now, how about Order of the Phoenix? The longest book in the franchise. I think it did a lot of solid foreshadowing for events in future books, as well as gave us satisfying maturing character arcs for several different characters.
If by mature character arc you mean Harry was going through the most boringly repetitive depiction of teenage angst I've ever seen, then yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
It wasn't just Harry. We saw a lot of development in characters like Ginny and Luna as well. We also got more of a look behind the curtain of what warfare with Voldemort is going to be like from the adults surrounding our teen cast.
I gotta say, I respect fighting for your country, but can we just talk about how the Order of the Phoenix was the most ragtag group of heroes ever? I get that there weren't a ton of people willing to fight Voldemort, but good Lord, I felt sorry for the fact that Britain's fate lied in the hands of this dysfunctional mess.
So then what? B tier? Does that sound reasonable?
Even that's a little high, but I guess I can live with that. No shot it should be any higher, though.
Agreed.
All right, fine. I guess it's B tier then. What a tragedy. Where do we put this mid-fest of a book?
Much higher than Order of the Phoenix. That should go without saying.
You're so cap right now, Joe, it's unbelievable. What about this book gives it a case for being higher than Order of the Phoenix?
It's not going to put you to sleep, for one.
Length is a sign of quality, Joe. You can't knock a book just because it has more pages than you'd like it to.
I can knock it when those pages are filled with nothing but meaningless drivel. Prisoner of Azkaban is tight, focused, and introduces a maturity to the Harry Potter universe that we'd been sorely lacking. The Dementors were great set pieces and felt appropriately terrifying, and that made it all the more satisfying when Harry made his iconic silver stag Patronus for the first time.
This book just honestly had a lot of cool shit in it. Hippogriffs are cool, Azkaban was cool, Dementors were cool, Defense Against the Dark Arts was cool. What cool shit did we get in Order of the Phoenix, the Department of Mysteries? Big fucking whoop.
It actually is a big fucking whoop, but I'm not going to waste my time talking about a book we've already ranked, even if it's criminally underappreciated. Prisoner of Azkaban had some of the most contrived character interactions ever. Half the time we spent at Hogwarts was focused on drama we knew wouldn't last or go anywhere meaningful. The amount of page time devoted to Hermione's fucking cat of all things was beyond pointless.
You better not say one damn thing against Crookshanks. He's too good for you.
If you want Prisoner of Azkaban to be above Order of the Phoenix in B tier, I'll have to live with it.
Fuck that. Put it in A. It definitely deserves to be an A.
I agree, Barack. Don't be a baby about this. It may be at the bottom, but it's an A-tier book for sure.
You're both idiots, but as a believer in democracy, I'll put it up. Let's just get this fucking over with. I'll be up front. Goblet of Fire seems like another easy S-tier ranking.
I would agree with that. An S-tier ranking seems only fitting.
Then you need to open your fucking eyes, Sleepy Joe. Goblet of Fire is hard carried by the Triwizard Tournament, but brings so little to the table. We spend so much time dealing with useless tournament shit. The dragons were cool, I'll give it that.
Yeah, the dragons were sick as fuck. You're at least not a total idiot.
I was thinking the same thing.
You both can blow me. Just put it in S and let's move on. It's definitely no Sorcerer's Stone, though.
Now, this one is a somewhat...
Stop you right there, Barack. Half-Blood Prince is mid. Fuck it. I'd even say this was just bad. I get that people are hung up over Dumbledore's death, but...
Well, he did go out like a total bitch. That was some real disrespect from Rowling's end.
Agreed. Dumbledore certainly deserved better. That being said, I still would agree that HBP is mid. It had the opportunity to be an amazing book about Harry coming more into his own as our hero and taking the torch up from Dumbledore, but overall it felt like we were spinning our wheels at Hogwarts for 60% of the book, and that's a tragedy.
It's horrendous that time spent at Hogwarts would ever feel like fucking filler, but that's exactly what this book made it feel like.
So am I hearing this correctly? Are we actually just all in agreement? Obvious C tier?
This book is definitely C tier in my personal opinion.
I almost want it in the who gives a fuck tier, but that's a step too far. It may be mid, but it's no cursed child.
We're almost done here. 2 books left. We'll leave the 7th book for last, so let's rate the Chamber of Secrets now.
This book was definitely solid. It wasn't quite up there with Sorcerer's Stone, but it was still a great read. The terror of the basilisk felt real and gripping to the reader, and I felt very caught up in the mystery surrounding the Chamber of Secrets. The sword of Gryffindor being pulled out of the sorting hat was also one of the most exciting climaxes in the entire series.
What made this mystery any more special than every other book defining mystery in the Harry Potter series? Did you like it because it had the word secrets attached to it? Did that make it feel fucking special?
Are you really going to sit here and act like Parseltongue magic wasn't awesome, or that you didn't want to know what the chamber was about?
Fuck no. It was bad writing on Rowling's part. She blindsided us with random basilisk trivia we knew nothing about. You can't call a mystery good if it relies on shit that we've never been told before. Mystery novels work when we get to the end and we get a narrative payoff because suddenly several plot pieces we couldn't make sense of come together and show us that the answer was in front of us all along.
It actually was in front of us all along, jackass. She dropped so many hints. Were you reading this book with one eye open? Is that why you missed everything?
If you consider that narrative payoff, then your standards are about as low as your poll numbers.
You absolute fucking ingrate.
We're almost done, guys, please. For fuck's sake. Now, come on, no politics. That was kind of a low blow, Joe.
He deserved it. I wish I'd swung lower.
But are we all good putting this book in A?
Do what you want. I'm so over this.
Last and quite possibly least the 7th book, the one that ended the main series, The Deathly Hallows.
I'm struggling to think of anything I liked about this book, other than the brief glimmer of hope it gave to the Harry and Hermione ship.
I told you that it would never happen, Donald. You did this to yourself, holding out hope when every single piece of evidence was telling you otherwise.
Yeah, well, you can't blame a guy for being able to see the chemistry in the air from almost the beginning. With how colossal of a moron Ron Weasley is, excuse me if I thought it was possible he'd fumble the bag with what is clearly the best girl in the franchise.
I'm so sick and tired of your movie-only character opinions, Donald. Ron was a little dense, but far from the ignoramus the movies made him out to be. And that goes double for Book Ginny, who is the obvious best girl. She's smart, competent in battle, and more than willing to speak her mind. Social norms be damned.
Enough waifu talk. I got enough of that from you both last Thursday when we were talking about One Piece. Let's just get to the important stuff. Deathly Hallows wasn't the worst. It's definitely had some good moments. We saw that Snape actually was on our side this whole time, which was gratifying to those of us that never lost faith.
What a convoluted ass pull of a scenario, and what a shit person of a character. Snape was a pathetic man who never got over his high school boner over Harry's mother.
Come on, Joe, that's hardly fair. Snape sacrificed so much for the good of the wizarding world, up to and including his life. He was an amazing double agent, and there's no way that they win the war without him.
And what about when he was going to get Sirius kissed by a Dementor? Despite the word of the kid that stands against Voldemort that Sirius was innocent. It's not like they were in a rush. They could have locked Sirius up and verified the story easily.
We've talked about this. Early game Snape was clearly meant to be a demonized character by Rowling. We can't fully blame him for her needing a villain-like teacher. Also, James Potter was a colossal prick.
You retroactive Snape apologists are all the same. Fuck Snape.
Snape isn't even the worst part of that book. I mean, the Deathly Hallows? What the fuck are those? We spend so much of the book learning and talking about them, only for them to not even be that useful. The owner of all three legendary items would be the Master of Death. And apparently all that means is that they've accepted that death is inevitable and not that scary? You're telling me in a world with dragons and flying broomsticks, that's what being the Master of Death is?
That is pretty whack. There's no two ways about it. What a lame fucking direction.
Think about it. What changes in that book if we removed the Deathly Hallows? Like, what actually changes? The wand ownership bullshit could have happened with any old wand. The little heart-to-heart in the forest changed nothing, for all that it was sweet to see Harry get to chat with his parents again. The cloak is used for the exact same sneaking shenanigans it's always been used for. A good disillusionment charm would do basically the same thing.
I think we have our verdict then. I'd put it at the bottom of B, but it seems like we need to put it into C tier after all. Is it better than HBP?
No fucking shot.
Absolutely not. There's no chance.
Y'all are coping, but I've had it up to here with this anyway. I'll put it at the end. Okay, there we go. We're done. In order, we have the Sorcerer's Stone and the Goblet of Fire in S rank, Prisoner of Azkaban and Chamber of Secrets in A, Order of the Phoenix by itself in B, Half-Blood Prince, and the Deathly Hallows in C tier. In the next tier, we have...
It's literally called Who Gives a Fuck. We don't need to list them. They're not worth our time.
Agreed. Fuck those side books.
Well, all right then. Based on our rankings, it seems like Harry Potter had an amazing start and then lost momentum over time. I don't know that we've been totally fair to Rowling here, but it is what it is. Now that we can see everything laid out, is there anything that stands out as being incorrectly placed?
Sorcerer's Stone, but the world isn't ready for that conversation.
Goblet of Fire is hard carried by nostalgia in the Tri-Wizard Tournament. It doesn't deserve its spot.
Prisoner of Azkaban's barely B tier, and I can't believe y'all conned me into putting it at the top of the A tier. Also, Luna Lovegood is clearly best girl, and there's no argument.
Why the fuck do I even come to these things?
Quidditch sucks balls, Barack.